Akinori closes the electrical cabinet and takes a step back, folding up his insulating mat and folding it neatly as a 60 by 100 centimeter insulating mat can ever be folded, into his tool bag, slinging said bag over his shoulder and going back through the door into the architect's office where the lights are back on, Akashi waiting for him, a grateful look on his face. Thank you, Konoha-san. I'm sorry I asked you to come over so suddenly, especially since you're on vacation, but Bokuto-san was busy. Akinori shrugs at him. It's fine, Akashi. I don't think it's something Bokuto could have done anyway. It was a little more than just tripping the electrics back on this time. His friend makes a noise in the back of his throat, and the blonde looks at him, smirk in place. You know, if I didn't know any better, I'd say these incidents weren't quite accidents. Akashi has the decency to blush, and Akinori shakes his head, patting him on the shoulder before turning to leave. You should do something about these feelings of yours. Both of you. He grins to himself as he hears the ever-composed Akashi Keiji sputter. He's dropped his toolkit off at home, changed and showered, and is now out grocery shopping, thinking of his two friends. He'd met Bokuto back in high school, and they'd been friends ever since the other had burned both of their eyebrows off in their first lab together. The poor teenager had stressed so much over the event that most of his hair had gone permanently white, leaving him with an oddly stylish look that somehow complemented his personality. And then there was Akashi, whom he'd met during the latter's internship in an architect office. Akinori had been fresh out of college and simply doing odd jobs, while he took a sabbatical before going into the electrical industry proper, giving himself the chance to gain a little on-hand experience while he was at it, and somehow they'd hit it off and exchanged contact information. He can't help but feel a little proud of them both, Bokuto now owning his own successful car workshop, and Akashi the head engineering architect of his office. His own electrical degrees had also gotten him a rather comfortable position as a developer for clean energies. He's brought from his musings as he stares at the ingredients on the back of a pack of cookies, by a siren resonating somewhere in the distance. His first reflex, as well as everyone else around him, is to think earthquake, but there's a shout somewhere at the front of the store yelling something about evacuation, and a nervous energy rolls around the store, bathing them all in it. He puts his basket of shopping on the ground and makes his way to the exit, blood running cold when he's close enough to hear what's being said. Please make your way to the safety units. There is a vehicle waiting outside. Please refrain from taking your own vehicle unless authorized. Akinori feels almost numb as he climbs into his pod, looking around at the pale, nervous faces that surround him. He catches a glimpse of the main control panel, where yet another man in military uniform is stood, the current time and date glaring back at him. 2018, 6:29, 14:56:37. The door closes and he stares at the time, unsure if he likes the fact that he's next to the control panel and can hear the men's conversation, even if it is muffled by the thick door. He guesses he should at least be thankful for the fact that the pods have windows. The orders are to have them in stasis at 1500, not a second before, not a second after. Seal the pods. Akinori looks at the clock. 14:58:55. He can see a flashing red light on the console. What do you mean none of them are sealing? I don't know, sir. The general lock isn't working. Sir, they're going to die. For the umpteenth time that day, his blood runs cold, the beginnings of panic seep into him, and he hears shouts erupting from the pods closest to him. Just put them all to sleep and let's get out of here. Shit, he thinks, as a low hissing sound echoes around him not a second later, somehow still heard over the muffled sounds of feet rushing to the exit, and people kicking and screaming to get out of the pods. He takes an accidental breath and curses himself, looking around the pod and zoning in on the panel above him. At least they'd planned for the issue of people getting stuck inside the pods, and takes in the various buttons and their labels, vision already starting to fade. He figures he has nothing left to lose if what he's just overheard is true, reaching up and unlatching the safety on the manual override. He flicks on the seal and stasis switches, and only has the energy to bat weakly at the one next to it saying air supply, as his limbs go numb and vision blurs. Figures it would be just his luck to be in a safety unit that doesn't work. The clock reads 1500 as Akinori succumbs to darkness.